Fact meets fiction. New York Times bestselling author Joseph Finder has been going behind the closed doors of big business and turning corporate intrigue into fiction thrillers. His latest book, Killer Instinct, is based on his time inside EMC Corporation. Joseph Finder joins us this morning from Washington, D.C. Mr. Finder, good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Tell me about the new book.
New book's called Killer Instinct, and it's a story about ambition. It's about a sales guy who sort of lacks the ambition to really make it until he meets someone who actually served in Iraq in the war and in the special forces. And it sort of is about the whole notion of business is war and how far do people really go in the corporate world. What happens when when these corporate warriors meet a real soldier who knows, who's ruthless.
You're a suspense novelist, but your background is in intelligence.
Right.
How do the two intersect?
Well, there's a lot of intersection. There is, I find that I actually grab morsels from reality and build them up as much as possible, kind of turn the dial to 11 to create dramatic plots. I actually have found that most of the people I've talked to in the corporate world, CEOs and CFOs, are much more willing to talk to me because I write fiction. That is, they know that their names are not going to be attached to it. They can open up. So as a result, I really get a lot of juicy inside information that comes across in my fiction.
Without attaching names, give us a juicy piece of information, a juicy morsel that you've based something on.
Oh, well, you know, I've written about corporate spies, for example, and the way that some companies send other spies into other companies. I've based that, I wrote a novel called Paranoia based on that. Killer Instinct is sort of based on real examples of people going too far in the corporate world to try to beat their rivals. And you hear these things, they often aren't reported. Sometimes it's rumor. Sometimes it's a matter of someone fessing up to me about what's really going on.
So corporate spying is real, in your view?
Well, yeah, let me tell you something, though. I've got to come clean on this. I write novels about corporate spying, and the fact is that corporate spying makes better fiction than fact. I think that in reality, it's hugely hyped. There is a lot less corporate spying that goes on in reality than happens in my novels. It's corporate spying, corporate espionage is a bad idea. It almost always gets the company in trouble, and it never leads to an increase in market capitalization.
Mr. Finder, it's Charlie Gasparino. How do you define corporate spying? I mean, it's all in the definition, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I'm talking about the Cold War model of sending one spy in to get secret information that the other company doesn't want you to have. I don't mean competitive intelligence. I mean really spying. So after all, corporate intelligence, corporate espionage is based on the CIA and the NSA and the sort of the real-world government models. So it is, yeah, it's partly how you define it, but...
So they may be tapping our phones.
Well, you know something, within corporations, you have to assume that your conversations are listened to and your email is certainly read by corporate security. The point I make is that spying never won a war in reality, in military history.
How do you know?
And corporate spying doesn't actually enable one company to beat the other. It's great in fiction, but not really in reality.
Well, the new book's just out, right?
Yeah, Killer Instinct just came out.
Okay. It's always good to have you with us. Thank you very much,
Thanks
Joseph
so
Finder,
much.
joining us from Washington this morning.